Okay, in this video what we're going to do is take a look at finishing the leg. We need a little hip control, and once we finish that hip control we will have all of the skeleton set up for the left hand side, and then we would just need to repeat everything on the right hand side of the character. Okay, so let's take a look at the outliner really quick. I have the reverse foot here. Let's throw that into the joints. It looks like at some point I accidentally duplicated the mesh, so I'm going to delete the duplicate. And then now what I need to do is go into joints. And what we're going to control is this hip joint, and you'll see that when we move it we can make some adjustments. Physically, like, that wouldn't necessarily happen, but it's a good way to adjust if the model's looking a little weird. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to create a control. The control is just going to be a circle. Herbs primitive circle. Have that there on the ground. Then this is exactly the same size as the joint right now, so I'm just going to push F8, scale it a little bit so it's easier to select. Once we align it, then we have an align tool here, so selecting that, select the joint, and then with the align tool here on the shelf, which is available on my courses for my students, and anybody else can find it on my Patreon, link down below. But we're going to align that there. And right now if we push 4, we can see that we have that control set up there. Then we can push F8 again, select the control vertices, and what I'm going to do is select these 3, then scale them in towards each other so that we kind of get this going on here. Just so that we know it is the hip control, and we have something a little bit customizable. We have one area here that's pointing to the hip and then going down, so that way we kind of know what control it's assigned to. Let's make this blue. We got a button here that will make it quick for us. Blue control, and then let's rename this. It's going to be L underscore hip underscore CTRL. And now that we have that, we just need to make sure that it's driving the hip. So this is going to be the target, and then the object to be controlled is the IK anim leg, so the top of the control rig that we have here. Then we can go in and go to constrain, parent option box. Let's reset the settings just in case. The defaults are all we need. Apply. And then now we have this leg done here. Now thinking about it, oh, we have the clavicle later. That is another control that we are missing. So we do need to do something on the right hand side over here for the clavicle. And usually with the clavicle I do what's it called, a FK control. Sorry, I don't do anything with the IK, but the FK control will control both the IK and the FK. So let's do that in this lesson, since this lesson is running a little bit short, and it is essentially the same thing we did here. So I'm going to turn off everything, the visibility off on everything we don't need right now. Okay, so we have the IK enum. We don't need the IK chain here. Okay, and then the other thing that we need is inside of the pelvis. You need to go up to the upper chest, and then the left clavicle. Let's duplicate that, so Control D, we'll duplicate it, Shift P to unparent it. And then I'm going to expand it and then delete the rest of the arm that is associated with it. There we go. And then instead of a bind joint, this is going to be an FK joint. Then I can throw that into the joint group. Now I need a circle control. So I'm going to create NURBS circle. And then just like we did with the leg, align it. Pushing F8 on the keyboard to push this out here. And I just want to position it somewhere like that. Then I can take this control and shape it a little bit. And then take all the control vertices and just try to align it a little bit. There we go. That works for me. Push F8 again. Okay, and then we need to create a zero group for this control. So I have a zero group. There you go. So that zeroes out all the attributes on here. Then we should be able to rotate the arm up and down, around, and everything based off of the clavicle. Let's rename. Actually, let's undo that really quick because it took that name from everything. I want to make sure I rename this first before I do the zero group, because it'll take all the names from everything that we created here into the other groups. L underscore clav underscore CTRL. Now we can do the zero group, which you can see it takes the name now. Then we can take this, make it blue. This is going to be driving this joint here, so let's make that a parent constraint. You can see it drives it there. That is great. We can throw this two controls Oops. What happened to the hip control? I might have undid at a certain point. We'll fix that in a moment. But this control, let's throw it in here. Oops, not inside of the joints, but inside of the control. And then with this joint, the clavicle joint, we want the shoulder IK and the shoulder FK, the shoulder IK annum, and then the shoulder IK to be driven by the clavicle. And then now let's check that this works here. We can see that the IK is going with it, which is great. The FK chain is not moving with it, and that's because the controls here aren't parented to the control that we have up here. So let's make sure under controls we have the shoulder group here, and that is going to go all inside of the clavicle. FK shoulders, inside of the clavicle control. Now let's check that. There we go. That is moving the way we anticipated. And then just to double check, although I can see that it's working here, we can, we need to do the IK-FK switch here to turn on and off the visibility. No? Oh, here we go. IK-FK blend. It's just on top. So let's put that at 0. We have it on FK. And you can see that it is all working properly the way we expect it to. There we go. Okay. Now let's refix this. It is just going to need a 0 group. And then this control is going to control the leg annum. Okay, so just select the control for the leg, and then we can do a constraint parent. Let's turn the visibility off on all of these joints. Just make sure that this works. That does work. And then let's make sure that this works. Yep, it's working all as expected. Okay, so that is it for the limbs on the left hand side for the leg and the arm. All we have to do is make sure that all of this is repeated over on the right hand side, so you guys can go through the tutorials again. But just instead of left hand side, we're doing the right hand side for everything. And then in the next lesson, we'll start working on the spine and then finish up through the neck and the head. All right, we will see you there.